Ladies and gentlemen, delegates, a very warm welcome to all of you and thank you for joining us today for the B20 conference on building workforce for Industry 4.0, the demand supply conundrum. We would now begin with our inaugural session, and for the same, I am delighted to call upon stage Mr. Bobby Kuriakose, Conference Chairman and Convener, CII Maharashtra State Skill Development Panel and Director HR, Forbes Marshall. I would like to involve Mr. Hakimuddin Ali, Vice Chairman of CII Maharashtra State Council and Executive Director and Executive Committee Member, Dalmia Cements Bharat Limited. Mr. Sriram Narayanan, Chairman CII Western Region Subcommittee on Skill Development and Managing Director, Endress Hauser India Automation Instrumentation Private Limited. Ms. Rekha Menon, Chairperson and Senior Managing Director, Accenture India. Dr. Ramaswamy N., IAS, Commissioner, Commissionerate of Skill, Employment, Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Government of Maharashtra. Dr. Praveer Sinha, Chairman, CII Western Region and Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director, Tata Power. Mr. Saugata Roy Chaudhary, Executive Director, Skills, CII. To begin the session, may I request Mr. Hakimuddin Ali, Vice Chairman, CII Maharashtra State Council and Executive Director and Executive Committee Member, Dalmia Cements Bharat, to come and deliver the welcome remarks, please.
Very good morning. So I'm sorry, I think Mr. Lodha has committed for joining the session, and I think he'll be joining us very soon. But in the interest of time, I think we should start the session. So I very heartily welcome all the participants here, all those who have come long way to listen to the experts in the field, my colleagues on the stage. We have with us Dr. Ramaswamy, Commissionerate of Skill, Employment, Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Government of Maharashtra. I welcome Dr. Praveer Sinha, our colleague and Chairman, CII Western Region, CEO and MD, Tata Power Company Limited. Ms. Rekha Menon, on her August presence, Chairperson and Senior Managing Director, Accenture India. My friend and colleague, Sriram, Chairman, CII Western Region Subcommittee on Skill Development and Managing Director, Endress Hauser. My friend and colleague, Mr. Bobby Kuriakose, Convener, CII Maharashtra State Skill Development Panel and Director, HR, Forbes Marshall, and Mr. Saugata Roy Chaudhary, Executive Director, CII. So we have a very powerful panel discussions today, and the topic is extremely interesting because I think the way the world is changing in front of us, the way things are moving, it's absolutely essential for us to start thinking in the way. Just 3 months back, or I would say 6 months back, none of us had actually started thinking about AI in as powerful way as it is today. We have started seeing that my daughter has started, making resumes and making letters out of just putting one-liners on the chat GPT, and things are happening. So skills are massively changing, and this makes me recall my days when we were in 80s and we passed out from the college. And we were all talking about computers. We didn't had an access to computer, but then we were all talking of computers. I distinctly remember the chief minister of one of the states saying that we don't need computers. We want jobs and employment for our people, but I think computers cannot do anything for us. And see where we are today. I think the way we have managed the skill development in 80s and 90s for transformation of a massive transformation that we did in terms of upskilling the entire workforce. There is a host of IT engineers and computer engineers that have actually really transformed the world. Today, India is a superpower because of the IT prowess that we have had. But that is past in history. I think things have really moved on. Industry 4.0 is now the major thing which is coming in. We have to really start working in this direction. We are already seeing there's a huge dearth of skill and talent in this area. We need to start thinking on these lines, how the industry, how the government, and how CII can help making all these achieve the common aim of developing the skills in this area. That's one of the reasons why we are here today, and we have got a very good lineup of the panelists today in terms of talking their insights and knowledge in the field. And that's the reason why we are here, to listen to them. And without coming in between, I invite the next speaker and heartily welcome everybody here on the stage once again. And thanks all the participants who have come here to attend the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ali, for the welcome remarks. May I now invite Mr. Sriram Narayan, Chairman CII Western Region Subcommittee on Skill Development and Managing Director, Enters Hauser India Automation Instrumentation Private Limited, to set the context for the day.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Respected Mr. Ramsamy and my friend Ali, Dr. Praveen Sinha, and Ms. Rekha Menon, and my friend Bobby, and of course Dr. Saugata Chaudhary, and esteemed press and audience. I think my friend Ali has set the context right, so it's very little for me to speak. So first of all, before starting, I would like to congratulate Bobby for putting up a very wonderful program. I think he was a round of applause. Bobby is chair for this conclave. Skilling is a topic which is very vast, so I thought let me share my Let me share a few thoughts. Generally, all of us in our career, we begin as a beginner. And then we start practicing the skills, we become an expert, super expert, or a leader. In my opinion, I think the Western world and developed countries have perfected the skill. Especially, I think, in Germany, I think they have made things more transparent. I was surprised when I visited a reputed company in USA, where they had made all the skills of the people working on the shop floor very, very transparent. For me, having visited that company, I thought, okay, how we can apply the same in my company. I come work for a company called Henderson, also Swiss German multinational. And what we did is, whatever skill sets people on the shop floor, we try to organize them in a particular way, starting from a beginner to an expert, to a super expert, and person who is an all-rounder. Imagine, I think, when we started making things transparent, we got a productivity increase of almost close to 20 to 30% because people wanted to learn new skills. Similarly, I would compare the same thing. I think this is in a company. When COVID started, I think none of us imagined we can do many of the jobs sitting out of home. Of course, this caused a transformational change. Specifically, I think it had a lot of impact on IT companies and also on manufacturing companies. Then the thought process came, okay, it's okay to have a hybrid model in place for, let's say, for an IT company or a company which is involved in technology. How do we implement the same in the manufacturing? And I would like to give a very simple example. Most of the manufacturing companies, I think, today, I think most of the kids on the block, I think Ali spoke about his daughter doing a chat GPT resume. Last week back, I had an interaction with one of my, I think, driver's son who has come for an internship in our company. And this boy was very clear. He's just around 17 years old, and he said, I asked him, what is your ambition? What do you want to do? He said, I want to reach your position. I said, okay, T, but how come you're in IT side? What will you do? He said, today it's very easy for me to develop an app. But one thing, development of app is one thing, but how do we make others do it? I think the leadership skill, that's where I think I have come to your company to learn. So the important thing is, how do we turn the workmen? I think we have today a mix of workforce, people who are experienced, and like Riley said, 80s and 90s, people had I would say it was a good thing to work on a computer, and there is generational change which is going to happen. So we need to be very, very careful in terms of how do we transfer the skill set, which thus ensures that other people don't left behind. And second thing is, how do we teach the workmen the new skills? So these are the questions which will be hopefully answered during the day. And there is a new concept which is coming in. It's called a skill passport. Let's say, for example, I joined in 1989 as engineer trainee, and of course, if my resume you look at, I worked in different areas, which picked up different skill sets. How can this be attached to a person? Like you have an Aadhaar card, you can get, okay, all the details related to you as a person. But is there something existing for skills? which is very important. And second thing is, which is also of great importance, is how do we address that the skills passport, what we are developing, meets all the workforce in the company. It's not only the top management or middle management. How do we make sure that all the people who are at the bottom of so-called bottom of the pyramid also get addressed? And in India, of course, we have a wonderful opportunity. We are the world's most populous country, and also we have most of the youth reside in India. This is our strength. And while we were discussing casually on the table, I think this was Ms. Renuka was sharing that how youngsters, they pick up the skill set very, very fast. And Mr. Ramasamy was also quoting a lot of things, what the government of Maharashtra is trying to do in terms of ensuring that people pick up the skill set. It's like swimming. Some people, swimming comes naturally. And India's today's youth, I think they all are used to working on new technology, and they take like fish to water. We have a big opportunity, because the biggest challenge we have is, of course, we have a huge workforce. The expectations are very, very high. So if we don't handle this topic of skill in a proper way, we can have a lot of social unrest in terms of society not being, I think they would have aim for something, and if they don't get it, I think, of course, as human beings, we tend to revolt. But the challenges we have in the developed countries, Europe, is very different. They find it very difficult. For example, my parent company, today we are struggling with a huge growth. In India, we are handling the growth very nicely, double growth, because we have the workforce which is able to adapt. But they have a declining population in the developed world. Those skill sets levels there is a system in place. Dual education is in place for a long time. But the challenge they have is, where do they find the people? So we need to address the following topics. How do we address a new technology which is evolving? And how do we address the new market opportunities we have because of this? And how do we develop the new skill sets? I'm confident with the good policies and regulations and good support from industry members, we can overcome this challenge. And it's my dream that one day, I always used to say this to people. Today we have a lot of people gathering outside the US consulate to look for a job in USA or in other developed countries, or look for education. It's my dream that people come in queue to look for a job in India. This can happen only when the skill sets which are there, we should need to transit from unskilled to semi-skilled to super skilled. That's a way forward, and I'm sure a lot of interesting discussions will come during the day. And I would end up with only one small example before I conclude my speech. I think this is a small example from my own company. We had a very nice system of, let's say, servicing all the equipments which can be accessed from anywhere in the globe. One piece of puzzle which was missing is, how do we ensure the person who is working on the equipment is integrated in? We created a simple dashboard. I think I don't want to call it as Industry 4.0 initiative, which enabled the workman also to access the system and give his input in terms of whether the service thing is working or not. Phenomenally, I think this resulted in a drastic change. The failures got reduced because somebody is monitoring you. So the best thing is, we need to make the things transparent, and I'm sure rest of the things will follow. Thank you. Wish you all the best, and I'm sure you will have a lot of learnings today. Thank you. Over to the next speaker.
Thank you, Sriram sir, for setting the context for the day. May I now invite Ms. Rekha Menon, Chairperson and Senior Managing Director, Accenture India, to give us a special address.
Namaste and good morning. And it's a little presumptuous of me to stand here and tell the industry and my esteemed panelists what to do about skilling, because I come from a different industry. I represent the technology industry. But we've done a lot of work in skilling, and we work with a lot of clients who are in Industry X.0 or moving towards Industry X.0. And therefore, I'm using this opportunity to just share what we know, and maybe there'll be some learnings. Now, we all know about the India opportunity. We know that India's GDP can grow from the current 3 trillion and reach 9 trillion by 2030. Maharashtra, where we are based, so I'll just call out Maharashtra, is a great example of a growth engine, constitutes about 14% of GDP. And manufacturing hub contributes, the manufacturing sector itself contributes a large amount of the industrial output. But there's one thing missing, and that's why we're all here today, is we have to get one leg right. I mean, there are a whole lot of other things we have to get right, whether it's licenses or land or whatever else, but we have to get skilling right. Because without that, we're not going to achieve the potential. And there's a second thing that I would push in, which is my favorite, which is we also have to mainstream women into the manufacturing workforce. And the opportunity exists now. I was talking at the back and we were saying as new technologies are coming in, it's much easier to get women to work in the manufacturing sector. So there are two things we have to get right, skilling and women. The way I see it, every industry is now a technology industry. There is no differentiation. The amount of technology the standard manufacturing industry uses is huge and growing. Now, there is the government efforts, which is towards building digital skills through, flagship Skills India mission, et cetera. But, we all collectively as an industry bodies have to come together because there are two ways to do this. And one is skilling for technology, which is the need for the manufacturing industry. And the second is really skilling through technology, using technology to skill. And there are lots of efforts going on in India. There's the B20 task force on future of work, skilling and mobility. There are specific interventions for skills for Industry 4.0. But from our report, there's a 70% skill gap currently across digital, data, and machine fluency alone. And this is the India Skill Report of 2023. That's a huge gap. It's gaps in understanding data generated by machines, how to use that data, what actions to take. Its inability to work with robots on the shop floor. Its inability to cope with the speed of automated machines to drive output. Now, we do have multiple programs that are trying to address this, and we were talking before the session on them, whether it's the National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme or the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Yojana. The way I see it, this is what you're facing now, your industry is facing now, is very similar to what the technology industry faced a couple of years back, where there was a massive shortage of skilled talent and change was coming in fairly quickly. Our industry was rapidly transforming and changing. So I just want to share a few examples of how we addressed it. And I know that there are efforts within the industry bodies to address it, but I think a more concerted effort is needed. The one thing we did was industry collaboration, because we realized that the need for skills was so acute that even as we competed outside the country, if we didn't get together and collaborate, we'd be dead in the water. So we created a platform which is Future Skills Prime, which is the digital learning platform, and each of us opened up our own curriculum and put it on the platform, so that it was helping create talent not just for us, but for the industry. More than 10 lakh people benefited from that program. It's still going on, but given its efficacy, the government of India actually recognized it as the national digital skilling platform. And today, lakhs of students are benefiting from it. And in fact, there are reimbursements and now direct cash transfers to the students who complete those courses and do the assessment. And assessment is an important part. The second thing we all did was we pulled together our CSR funds. And again, it was collaborative. I mean, we all want our name on the board saying Accenture did this or Tata did that, but we pulled together our CSR funds and partnered with the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. So for example, Accenture partnered to train students across 1,000 ITIs on employability skills, including digital fluency for the knowledge economy. These are just examples of collaboration which are replicable to other industries and could help the manufacturing industry reduce the skill gap. So that's why I'm just sharing it. And even as we are training people for the present, we need to prepare for the emerging jobs. You know, data says the WEF Future of Jobs report says 25% jobs are expected to change the next 5 years, including in the manufacturing sector. There's a 30% increase in demand expected for jobs in AI, machine learning, and cybersecurity. 30% increase, right? And that's, I'm not talking technology, I'm talking manufacturing sector. So when you mentioned cybersecurity, it's very real and it's coming. Because as you automate and as you connect, you also need cybersecurity experts. 61% of Indian companies believe, and this is an Accenture study, believe broader application of ESG standards will drive job growth. And you know, we were talking in the back about green jobs, about jobs in EV, solar, but also in, as manufacturing gets greener, you need very different skills. And globally, the demand for green skills has already grown more than 8% per annum and growing dramatically. And therefore, the case for massive skilling intervention for Industry 4.0 is there very much. And some of the things that we've seen working with our clients in the industry, one, that there's a need for data-driven workforce analytics to create skill building programs, because data is going to be very key in building that. Analytics is going to be key, and these are newer areas that the manufacturing industry doesn't really right now, except in pockets, touch upon. Cultivating skills for deep tech technologies such as AI, AR, and VR. That is already a need. It's a small need yet, but it's growing fairly dramatically in the manufacturing sector. At the same time, because all of this will be based on data and technology, a responsible AI and ethics-based approach. And we are already working, for example, with Niti Aayog for K-12 students to learn AI and do responsible AI. And embracing a just-in-time approach to digital learning, because workers need small modules, a snackable format, which is easy to fit around, and so that they can go back and implement that on their shop floor. You know, we are creating, for example, for a major utility company, a VR prototype for immersive learning in the, for power line inspections. I mean, that's just an example. So we'll need a lot more of that. And the shift from I've finished my graduation or I've finished my ITI or whatever, to building a culture of lifelong learning, because that is going to be needed very much. The change is happening so fast, and it's not going to end today, it's going to continue. So in conclusion, human and machine is going to be the way forward, especially in manufacturing, and especially in the large populous country like India. We can tap into that. So we need a symbiotic relationship. And so therefore we have to augment and automate skill. You spoke about our having a younger workforce, and demography is destiny, but we have to grab that if we have to unlock the India demographic dividend. And therefore, skilling is the key code that will unlock it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Menon. And yes, skilling is the key code. I like that statement. And now may I call upon Ms. Dr. Ramaswamy N, IAS Commissioner, Commissionerate of Skill, Employment, Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Government of Maharashtra, to deliver us a special address.
Thank you. Good morning, all. So I am here to represent Maharashtra state government in the industry. So Maharashtra industrial development is driven by a diverse range of sectors, including automobile, manufacturing, IT, textiles, chemicals, renewable energy. As ma'am had mentioned that Maharashtra is one of the engine of growth for the country. The state's proactive approach towards infrastructure development, investment promotion, policy support, and developing skilled workforce has helped it emerge as a key destination for industrial investment in India. The Skills, Employment, Entrepreneurship and Innovation Department of Maharashtra, which I represent, is the nodal department responsible for creation of an industry-ready workforce. The development comprises of several verticals across its operational areas. These include the skilling domain, the employment domain, and lastly, but most importantly, the entrepreneurship and innovation domain also. We have to have enough number of companies to generate employment. The skilling wing mostly, as all of you know, that it is mostly ITIs. We have more than 1,000 ITIs in Maharashtra. It is one of the highest in the country. We train almost 2.4 lakh youth annually through our network of both government and private ITIs. So we have a state skill board which develops skill development standards, designing curriculum framework and conducting assessment. I'm happy to share this information that this our state skill board has been recognized by Government of India, and all our courses which are being conducted by our board will be at par with NSQF aligned courses. This is the second state in the country to have that kind of recognition in the country. The other major institution we have is the Maharashtra State Skill Development Society, where I am the CEO. We are concentrating on short-term skills. Just before the meeting, we were discussing with esteemed panel members and my colleague from Madhya Pradesh also. So the major scheme is that Prime Minister Kaushalya Vikas Yojana 4.0 that is said to be allotted to the state governments. Right now, it is being allotted only for the Government of India. Apart from that, we have a major scheme from state budget, that Pramod Mahajan Kaushalya Udyojakta Vikas Abhiyan. So we spend almost around 234 crore this year on this. So far in Maharashtra, we have trained 10.31 lakh candidates in various short-term skills, and out of that 8.13 lakh candidates have been certified, and the placement is around 67%. It is the trend that we are observing across the country also. So we have special programs for socially and economically backward classes and other categories also. So I'm happy to share that we have a program called Akanksha. It is not only traditional skills. We are training 220 tribal girls in advanced computer diploma. It's all fully residential course. It is conducted in Amravati. Similarly, we have courses for transgender, sex workers, physically challenged, and prisoners under a Sankalp program. Because in the process, we should not leave any of our components in the society. We have to look into it. Should be an inclusive program, and this program has been appreciated by World Bank Mission also recently. So we have employment wing. Mr. Chaukatrai Chaudhary was one of the panelists on the program in Pune. That was chaired by Honorable Governor of Maharashtra. In fact, we started approaching the industry directly. We want to make MOAs with industries because we need employable skills to be given to the youth. When the skill development program was launched, there were a lot of skilling programs started happening. But we need skilling that is employment oriented, and the felt need of industry should be meted there. So accordingly, what we have done is that in last 1 year, we have done more than 2.25 lakh employment placement opportunities with almost 190 industries. So wherein we will give that kind of skilled manpower, it is actually needed over there. So the other important thing in Maharashtra is that we are leaders in innovation and startups also. I'm happy to share that out of the total startups in the country, 17,530 startups are from Maharashtra. This is 18% in the country. And if you consider unicorns, we have 25 unicorns, that is 23% in the country. So we have few schemes to promote these startups, because ultimately the employment generation cannot come from bigger industries alone. It has to come from MSMEs, it has to come from startups. So for that we have special schemes for our startups. In fact, we conduct this startup week every year. The winners of the startup week are given 15 lakh worth work orders directly from government. This is unique in Maharashtra. And we have a startup policy that that is due for renewal this year. We are coming up with more progressive startup policy in 2023. And moreover, we have recently launched one fund also, Maharashtra Innovation and Technology Development Fund, especially for deep tech technologies. This is 200 crore fund that Innovation Society has come up with to promote these kind of startups and new industries. And I'm happy to share that we got a World Bank scheme also sanctioned recently worth to 2,307 crores. And it's a five-year program. So this is basically to modernize all our ITAs to meet the skill needs for Industry 4.0. Because we were discussing before the meeting that the kind of training setup and actual industry setup, there is a huge gap. The kind of advanced machinery that is there on the shop floor is different from what is being there for training. So we should meet that gap. So for that we need to have more tie-ups with industry and training in the industry itself. So as my previous speakers have mentioned that, so now the job roles means big data analytics, artificial intelligence and machine learning, Internet of Things, cloud technologies, cyber security, new autonomous robots, drones. So last week I have visited an industry, robotics industry in Pune. In Maharashtra alone, the demand for the robotics operator is more than 30,000. We are hardly having any. There are many small industries, especially MSMEs. For their automation, they need these operators. That is lagging. So we have to skill as many people as possible in robotics also, because it's not just traditional skills now. Because that is the common point that has been mentioned by all the previous speakers also. People are not just interested in traditional skills alone. People are aspirational. They are interested in all these kind of advanced courses. And there are so many reports of McKinsey and World Economic Forum regarding the need for more skilling, what kind of replacement of manpower with machines, that is known to everyone. So we have to coexist and we have to reskill them accordingly. Certain professions, however, cannot be replaced by robots, and there also we have to emphasis on new skills and knowledge. So it is our responsibility as industry leaders, policy makers and stakeholders to prioritize the development of a skilled workforce that can seize the opportunities presented by the Industry 4.0 while minimizing the disruption faced by those in the traditional and transitional roles. And the future of manufacturing is of paramount importance as we navigate the transition to Industry 4.0. According to recent data, the integration of automation, artificial intelligence, and data analytics in manufacturing process has the potential to increase the labor productivity up by 30% and reduce the production costs by 20%. However, to fully realize these benefits, it is crucial to develop an effective workforce equipped with right skills and competencies. Reports from E&Y and IMOCHA have shown that 81% of the manufacturers are facing challenges in finding talent with the necessary technical expertise for advanced manufacturing technologies. To effectively upskill the workforce, a multifaceted approach is recommended. Just I was mentioning about this Karnataka model done by Tatas. Similarly, we have floated an expression of interest for industry-led center of excellence. I request all the industry partners who are present here to participate in this endeavor. So Karnataka is a successful model, and similar experiments can be done in Maharashtra. there the more industry relevant skills can be imparted in partnership with industries, especially for these Industry 4.0 courses. And one more program that we will be launching is Kaushalya Kendra Apya Dari. This was mentioned in that Pune meeting also of the industries. So wherein we want to partner with at least 100 industries this year. Industry as a training center. As I mentioned that industries are changing into modern technologies, modern machines. Even that fitter, turner also, the traditional fitters and turners who are trained in the ITIs, not employable directly in the industrial setup. So that kind of tie-up needs this direct training in the industries. So the previous speakers have mentioned about our apprenticeship program. Even we have a state apprenticeship program also. We want to enhance that by partnering with good NGOs who have done very good work in other states like Uttar Pradesh. So we have one more institute called Maharashtra State Skill University, and there are 2 private universities also, wherein the courses will have 60% OJT and 40% general education component. And the beauty is that there is a credit transfer system also. Right now the career path for an ITA student may be limited, but with this introduction of credit transfer, depending on their skill sets, they can migrate and they can upgrade to PhD level also, and industry can also get the updated manpower. So this is a common knowledge that if 1% increase in the human capital index is associated with 0.12% increase in GDP per capita. This is the experience across the world. So in this August forum with this G20, this is very important for us to be together as government, as industry and academia to create this Industry 4.0 workforce which is needed. It is not only the workforce which is needed for the country. As Mr. Sriram had mentioned, and other speakers have mentioned, there is a huge demand for our skilled manpower across the country, whether it is Germany, whether it is other European countries, for any other country, they are all aging population. We have an average age of 28 compared to 38 in China, even more in other countries. So we are working with NSDC also. There is a wing called NSDC International to train manpower for the needs abroad also. So I thank the organizers CII for inviting me for this conference, and we keep working together to create such kind of manpower, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ramaswamy. Now may I invite Dr. Praveer Sinha, Chairman CII of Western Region and Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director, Tata Power, to deliver a special address, please.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone, my fellow panelists, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, compliments to Sriram and Bobby and CII for organizing this event. I think this is a very timely event, and of course, these type of events always remain timely in India. For us, we like to say that we have a young population, we have a population where the average age of nearly 500 people is less than 27, 28. And we have to do a lot of work in how do we skill them. We have a requirement of 10 to 12 million opportunities. Youngsters have to be given employment every year, and we are not able to cater to that requirement. In fact, we only do about 3 to 4 million. And there is a huge challenge, and everyone wants a skilled manpower. I wish there was a formula or a tablet that you could give to people and say that this is how the skilled manpower. But let me try to put it in perspective. There are two types of people that we are looking. One is the high-end people, where we talk about the digital technology, and we talk about the artificial intelligence and analytics and cybersecurity. And then there's another India where we need to create the infrastructure, and we need large number of people. Rekha mentioned about that from 3.7 trillion economy will become 9 trillion by 2030. And that means we need to create that much more of infrastructure, that much more of roads, ports, buildings, and industry. And that requires that type of skilled people. And the skilling which is there in the informal sector is very, very poor. We have people who come from their fields. They come and do some job, electrician, mason, plumber. In some cases, they become fitter, machine operator, but they don't have gone through the formal training program. And how do we create the infrastructure? And this infrastructure cannot be left just for NSDS or for the state governments, but it has to be done by the industry. They also need to contribute and create the infrastructure and create the ecosystem where all these people who are unskilled become skilled. And the first thing that we do, since we do a lot of manufacturing activity, a lot of construction activity, is that the basic concept of safety itself is not there. People do not work in a safe manner, do not come to the workplace with proper gear to carry out the work. And I think we need to start from the basics and train them, whereby they have a mindset of working the 8 hours that they are supposed to do diligently. And I think we need to create that ecosystem. It cannot be that it is left for some government institution or L&T or Tata or some industries to create that sort of skill sets or skill training programs and say that they only do it. So I think it's very, very important for each one of us to reach out and create a platform whereby the skilling is to be provided. And I'll just share with you that it is not that if we provide the skilling template, if we provide them the skilling support, it does not happen. So I remember I used to run a power distribution company in Delhi a few years back. It was a government-owned company, Delhi Vidyut Board, and it was privatized, and we took over. And I remember the office had 2 computers that also had cover so that the dust should not go in. And we went over there and said that we can't run a company like this. And we then started doing. And over a period of time, we trained. We took 5,600 people at that time. We trained all of them. And today, they are all fully conversant. They use the SCADA system. They have the CRM facilities. They have the business communication facilities. They use the field force automation. That means each of the lineman has a smartphone in which they know exactly where the fault is there, which road they should take, what sort of safety measures. So it's not that it is so complicated, but I think we need to reach out and provide them the necessary support that has to be done. Same was the case in Odisha when we took over. And I remember a few years back when I went into the office, everything was paper. In fact, the corridors has so many files that 2 people could not walk together because there were papers and racks on both the sides. But over a period of time, we have done it, and now everyone has an iPad or a computer, and they are able to carry out their work. The accounts never used to close 2 years after the financial year ending used to take place because everything was done manually. So I think that's the one part of the business that we need to look at very strongly if India has to get the type of productivity. We say that today we need to compete, we need to talk about China +1 or India +1. If we have to get that sort of capability, then we have to really provide that sort of opportunities. Rekha also mentioned about women employees who can be trained. There are a lot of good examples which are there, but there are just few examples. Why can't we do it much more? I do know that some of the industries have 60% or 80%. We ourselves are setting up a new manufacturing plant for making cells and modules, and we are taking the women employees, women from the ITIs and from the local community and training them. We are targeting to do 80,000, very ambitious. Everyone told me that you are being very, very aggressive on this, but I thought, let me try and fail rather than not trying and not doing it. So I think there is a great opportunity, but we need to reach out. We need to provide them. Similarly, I'll share with you that we used to run these vocational training programs. These vocational training programs were run in slums of Delhi. We started simple programs of teaching them some electrician work or plumber work. Over a period of time, the children, the boys and girls came back and said, we want to do more. We provided computer programs. They wanted then to do enhanced computer programs. And then there were a whole lot of them who said that we also want to do many other things, and it should not just be related to just computer programs, but also the CAD/CAM design and things like that. So I think it's a question of providing the enabling environment, providing them the helping hand. And mind you, they are as good as anyone. We ran a simple program of hospitality and retail. It's a 71-day program that we run. Everyone who passes out has a campus interview, and everyone gets an employment opportunity. I'll just take a pause. We have the Honorable Minister, Mr. Mangal Lodha. Thank you, sir, for joining us for the event. Mr. Lodha is the Honorable Minister for Tourism, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, and thank you for being part of this event. So as I was mentioning to you that there is the other part of India where we need to reach out, and these type of programs are done in various places in the country, and I can give you n number of examples where it has been hugely successful. The other area is about the enhanced training programs and bringing in the discipline of work. And I think for us, it's very important that the Indian youth rises to the occasion and carries out what it is. Every year, we recruit about 500 graduate engineer trainees, and I ask them what you will do. Most of them want to do strategy and want to make presentation. I run power companies, so I ask them, do you want to become power plant engineers or PowerPoint engineers? So we need to tell them that you guys have to come and work in the field. Don't get into strategy from day one without not knowing what the hell is the industry about. And I think that's a very, very important. And this is a great opportunity for India to deliver. There are some generations who could have said that we didn't have the opportunity, we didn't have the tools, and we didn't have the knowledge of doing things. I think for Indian youth, this is the opportunity. I find, of course, there has been a lot talked in last 3 years about work from home and how it is a great thing, and people have gone overboard and done work from home. But I think there is also a need that when we are talking of skilling and training and working, it has to be work from office. So again, most of the youngsters, when they come to my office and they talk to me that, do we have work from home? And I say, yes, we have work from home. Sundays we work from home. Rest of the days we work from office. So there is nothing like work from home. And there can be some skill sets where people can work from home. But I think we should not make a big thing that work from home. For us, it's important that we work with our hands. Every country, when they have gone through a change, you see Germany, you see Japan, you see whole of Europe, you see China. You have to actually go and see the type of work and the skill sets and the diligence that they bring in type of work that they do. And if India has to really overtake China, the productivity of India has to go up many, many more times. It's not what we have today. We are very, very unproductive. Over there, 8 hours works means 8 hours. It's not that someone is talking on the mobile or someone has gone 5 times to the canteen for having coffee. I think they are very, very disciplined in that. So I think for us, it's about building the character of the workforce. It's not about just giving them skill sets. And when we are talking about it, it's about how do we create the whole ecosystem and give them the right value system for carrying out the work. And for us, it's very important. If India has to become the top 3 globally in terms of the GDP, it has a long way to go. And it can only happen if we bring about the right work set values as well as the skill sets. So once again, I hope you have a great day in terms of exchanging ideas, how we can make India great in terms of having a workforce which is geared up to meet the future challenges, whether it is in terms of competence, in terms of technology, in terms of throughput, in terms of quality. But this opportunity is a huge opportunity for India, and the challenge before us is how do we convert this quickly. So thank you very much, and all the best for the event today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sinha, for that special address. Now may I invite Mr. Mangal Prabhat Luda, Honorable Minister, Skill Employment, Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Tourism and Women and Child in Development, Government of Maharashtra, to please deliver the keynote address as a guest of honor.
हिंदी में बोलूँगा तो चलेगा ना? थोड़ा संभाल के लीजिए। कन्फेडरेशन ऑन बिल्डिंग वर्कफोर्स फॉर इंडस्ट्री, इसके बारे में आयोजित इस सिंपोजियम में महाराष्ट्र के इंडस्ट्रियल सेक्टर के हुज हू और जो लोग रियल में इस बारे में कंसर्न हैं कि न केवल जिस इंडस्ट्री से हम बिलोंग करते हैं उस इंडस्ट्री में कुछ अच्छा हो, बल्कि महाराष्ट्र का कुछ अच्छा और देश का भी कुछ अच्छा हो। एसोसिएशंस का सक्सेस इंडिया में इसलिए ज़्यादा अच्छा है क्योंकि हमारे सबके मन में कहीं ना कहीं सोशल रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी को शेयर करने की फीलिंग रहती है, बाय बर्थ रहती है, बाय ब्लड रहती है। और इसीलिए हम लोग स्वयं के अलावा भी कुछ सोचते हैं, अपनी नॉर्मल रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी को भी क्रॉस करके कुछ ऐसी जगह भी अपना टाइम और एनर्जी इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं जहाँ से हमको डायरेक्टली वापस कुछ मिलता नहीं है और लेने की इच्छा भी नहीं है। ये वैसा ही एक प्लेटफॉर्म है। मैं आपसे थोड़ा देरी से आने के लिए क्षमा चाहता हूँ। आप सबका टाइम बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है। आई रेस्पेक्ट ऑल ऑफ यू, योर टाइमिंग। नॉर्मली आई डोंट गेट डिलेड, बट बिकॉज ऑफ वन स्मॉल रीज़न आई वॉज हेल्ड अप समवेयर। काइंडली बियर विद मी। सो जो कुछ मुझे मालूम नहीं मुझे कितना टाइम दिया हुआ है, पर मैं कवर करने की कोशिश करूंगा कि मैं कम बोल के आपका शेड्यूल जो टूट गया वापस उसको लाइन पे लाने की कोशिश करूंगा। तो हम सब साथ में मिलकर क्या कर सकते हैं? हमारे रामास्वामी साहब यहाँ पर हैं, इन्होंने रामास्वामी जी आपका बोलना हो गया? हो गया। तो ये जो गवर्नमेंट है, ये जो डिपार्टमेंट है, स्किल डिपार्टमेंट, इसका थोड़ा बैकग्राउंड में आपको, मुझे कितना 10 मिनट बोलना है? 5 मिनट जितना अपनी नॉर्मली हैं, मैं 10 मिनट में अपनी बात ख़त्म करूँगा। तो जब स्किल डिपार्टमेंट 2014 में हमारे प्रधानमंत्री माननीय नरेंद्र भाई मोदी ने बनाया था, तो उस समय को उनका स्पीच किसी को सुनने को मिले तो उस समय उनको कहा था कि उन्होंने कहा था कि भाई ये स्किल का मतलब ये है कि गांवों के बच्चे जो आज शहरों में आते हैं और उसके कारण शहरों में जो बड़ी प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट हो रही है, ये कहीं ना कहीं इस पे जाके थोड़ा चेक आए। कोई गांव का बच्चा शहर में नहीं है ऐसा नहीं है, पर गांव में जॉब ही नहीं है, मैं कुछ करना चाहता हूँ तो क्या करूँ? इसके लिए मजबूरी में मुझे शहर में आना पड़ता है, और शहर आज अपने कैसे बन गए हैं ये पूरा एक अलग चैप्टर है। मुंबई शहर अपने को दिखने में बहुत सुंदर लगते हैं, लाइटें रात को बहुत चमकती हैं, पर उन लाइटों के अंदर कितना अंधेरा है और उस सफाई के पीछे कितना कचरा छुपा हुआ है, ये सब हम पॉल्यूशन के अंदर और कई चीज़ें लाइफ के अंदर, लाइफ डिजीज़ के अंदर हम सब भुगत रहे हैं। उनका पर्पज वो था, पर हुआ क्या उसके बाद में स्किलिंग जो हुई या अपस्किलिंग जो भी हुई वो कुछ भी गांवों में नहीं हो सकी, और उन बच्चों को भी नहीं हो सकी जो इसके बड़ा वर्कफोर्स बन सकता था। सबसे यूथ कंट्री है भारत दुनिया की, सबको मालूम है, पर इसके बाद में इन यूथ के लिए क्या, जब अभी हम लोगों ने कोशिश की, हमने एक 500 स्किल सेंटर्स महाराष्ट्र में 28,000 ग्राम पंचायत हैं। ग्राम पंचायत मैंने थेट ग्राम पंचायत, आपका किसी का विलेज से काम पड़ा होगा तो जहाँ पर 5,000 के आसपास की पॉपुलेशन है, कुछ नहीं होता वहाँ पर। आसपास कई जगह पर बड़ी फैक्ट्री पर नॉर्मली कुछ लाइफ नहीं है, तो बच्चे वहाँ भी पढ़ते हैं, बच्चे वहाँ भी बड़े होते हैं, फिर करते क्या हैं, तो उनको कुछ नहीं करना, ऐसा उनमें से कई लोगों का पैटर्न बन गया है। तो ये पैटर्न क्यों बन गया है, तो इसके कई सारी सोशल पॉलिटिकल इश्यू है। नेताओं को हर गांव में 10-15 लड़के चाहिए, उनको वो महीने के 10-15 हज़ार रुपये देते रहते हैं, और कुछ न कुछ बैंकों के इलेक्शन, ये वो इलेक्शन होते रहते हैं। फिर कभी कॉमर्शियल कंपनियों को पोस्टर बैनर लगाना, उनको कुछ न कुछ काम मिल जाता है, बाकी घर में खाना मिलता है। तो ये एक बड़ी प्रॉब्लम, हम जब ये 500 सेंटर गाँवों में खोलने को गए तो हमको ये आई कि वहाँ पर बच्चों को पढ़ने के बाद भी उनकी काम करने की इच्छा नहीं है। फ्री में सरकार पढ़ा रही है, उनको टेक्निकल ज्ञान दे रही है। आप जैसी इंडस्ट्रीज़ के लोग आगे आए थे कि हम इनको एब्जॉर्ब भी करेंगे, पर उसके बाद भी लोग काम नहीं करना चाहते हैं। तो एक चैलेंज अपने सामने ये है। दूसरा चैलेंज अपस्किलिंग का है। स्किल्ड वर्कर्स हैं, आपने इसमें आज शामिल भी किया है कि आने वाले समय में 2025 तक आपको सबको अपस्किल करना पड़ेगा। इट्स गुड दैट यू हैव एडॉप्टेड दैट थीम। तो ये हमारा सेकंड चैलेंज है कि हमारे यहाँ पढ़ लेते हैं, स्किलिंग भी थोड़ी बहुत सीख लेते हैं, पर अप स्किलिंग का हमारे यहाँ कोई प्रोविज़न नहीं है। तीसरा, मेरी पर्सनल राय है कि हमारा एजुकेशन सिस्टम हमारे लिए बड़ी प्रॉब्लम बन गया है। हमने 5th में, 7th में, 10th में क्या पढ़ा, वो लाइफ में उसमें 10% से ज़्यादा हमारे काम नहीं आता। और ये चाहे कोई भी सब्जेक्ट में पढ़े होंगे, कॉमर्स की होगी, साइंस की होगी, इंजीनियरिंग किया होगा, टेक्निकल इंजीनियरिंग टेक्निकल हो जाता है, पर बेसिक जो अपनी स्कूलिंग थी उसमें सारे कोर्सेज ऐसे सिखाए जाते हैं कि हमारे को लाइफ में वो कुछ काम नहीं आते। तो हमारे जो फॉर्मेटिव जो 12-15 साल हैं उसमें हम ज़्यादा कुछ उतना हम बच्चों को दे नहीं पाते, हम खुद भी नहीं पा पाए थे कि जितना हमको उस समय मिल सकता था। उस समय यदि हमारी स्किलिंग के प्रति एक रेस्पेक्ट क्रिएट होता। मोदी जी कहा करते हैं कि जब हम गांव में पढ़ते थे तो हमारे पिताजी और हमारे बच्चों के, हमारे मित्रों के पिताजी हमसे कहा करते थे, जाओ बेटा कुछ सीख लो। तो कुछ सीखना क्या था, कुछ सीखना ये स्किलिंग था कि कुछ सीख लोगे, कुछ नहीं सीखोगे, मान लो वाटर पंप बनाना ठीक लोगे, चाय बनाना सीख लोगे, गाड़ी चलाना सीख लोगे, छोटा मोटा कोई काम, दूसरा कोई भी कुम्हार का काम है, सुतार का काम है, सीख लोगे तो लाइफ में तुम कुछ बन पाओगे। वो गांव की सोच, एक छोटे से गांव जहाँ पर वो रहते थे, वहाँ की वो सोच उस समय की बता रहे थे कि कुछ सीखना बहुत ज़रूरी है। तो मेरी आपसे 2-3 रिक्वेस्ट है। मेरी 2-3 रिक्वेस्ट ये है कि एक तो हमने अभी इंडस्ट्रीज़ के साथ में हमारे जितनी ITI हैं, 450 ITI हमारे पास में है महाराष्ट्र के अंदर, और ITI हमारी बहुत ठीक ठाक ITI हैं एकदम, और अभी तक उनको सबको हम अप स्केल भी कर रहे हैं। हमारे पास में 7,000 करोड़ रुपए का फंड पड़ा था, तो उसमें और हमने 3,000 करोड़ लगा के 10,000 करोड़ में हम सारे महाराष्ट्र की ITI को स्केलिंग कर रहे हैं, अप स्केल कर रहे हैं। और हमने इसके लिए एक EOI पब्लिश किया है 7 जून को। मैं आपसे कहूँगा कि बाद में थोड़ा एक सर्कुलेट कर देंगे तो अच्छा रहेगा। और उसमें हमने दिस EOI GOM इंटेंट टू एंटर इन पार्टनरशिप विद लीडिंग इंडस्ट्रीज एंड इंडस्ट्रियल एसोसिएशन एंड इंटेंट टू ट्रेन कैंडिडेट्स थ्रू PPP मॉडल with suitable skills to make them employable in the day of their course completion. We urge the industry patterns to come forward and in large number to make this program successful, which will create a win-win situation for all. So what is that win-win situation? The industry will get the well-trained workforce on day one of their recruitment. The candidate trainee here will be employed on day one of their course completion and help the government increase the employment in state. मैं इसको मेरी भाषा में समझाऊं तो हमने 2 प्रोजेक्ट लॉन्च किए हैं। एक तो ये है कि ITI के अंदर आप कोई हमारे साथ पार्टनर बनिए, आप जो भी आप में से बनना चाहें, आपकी पसंद का कोर्स हम वहाँ पर हमारे खर्चे पे सिखाएंगे। और उनके जो बच्चे होंगे वो बच्चे हम भी आपको ऑफ़र कर देंगे, तो आप भी अपने बच्चे कर सकते हैं कि भाई ये 50 लोग हमारे पास पहले जॉब के लिए एप्लीकेशन किए थे, उस समय हमने सेलेक्ट नहीं किया, आप इनको अप स्किल कर दीजिए, हम इनको लेंगे। तो ये एक ITI में पार्टनरशिप का, उसके अंदर पार्टनरशिप अभी हमारे सारी ITI जो हैं उस 450 ITI में से 250 ITI में मैनेजमेंट कमेटी है। मैनेजमेंट कमेटी माने क्या, जैसे ट्रस्ट होता है, दैट वो चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट एक्ट में रजिस्टर होता है, उसमें ट्रस्ट के अंदर हम उस ITI को चलाते हैं। मेरी आप सबसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप में से कोई भी उस IMA का मेंबर बनना चाहे, 10 मेंबर उसमें होते हैं, तो हम उसको आपको बहुत वेलकम करेंगे एंड वी विल अप्रिशिएट दैट यू हैव कम फॉरवर्ड सोशल कॉज। उसके बाद में उस ITI में आपसे संबंधित इंडस्ट्री का तो विषय हो ही सकता है, पर इसके अलावा जनरल भी आप इंटेलिजेंट लोग हैं, आप सक्सेसफुल लोग हैं, तो आप वापस कम्युनिटी को बहुत कुछ दे सकते हैं। हम लोग, सरकार की एक लिमिटेशन होती है, सरकार एक लिमिट के बाद में हार जाती है, रुक जाती है। जब तक कि पब्लिक को, लोगों पे, सरकार पे विश्वास नहीं आए, तब तक कोई सरकार दुनिया में सक्सेस नहीं हो सकती है। और विश्वास दिलाने के लिए हम केवल इतना ही कर सकते हैं कि हम आपके बीच में इंटरफेयर नहीं करेंगे, आप जो करना चाहें हम करेंगे। मैं भी आपकी तरह एक बिजनेसमैन बैकग्राउंड से आता हूं, इसलिए मैं आपकी सोच को समझ सकता हूं। रात के अंधेरे में भी सारे इंडस्ट्रीज को इकट्ठा करके देश का सारे बड़े बड़े लोग आकर पूछें कि बताइए हम आपके लिए बहुत कुछ करना चाहते हैं, बताइए क्या करें, तो सब यही कहेंगे कि हमारे लिए ये करो, कि हमारे लिए कुछ मत करो, हमको हमारे हाल पे छोड़ दो। वी डोंट वांट द एनी इंटरफेरेंस फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट। हम इस सोच के साथ में आपके साथ में जुड़ना चाहते हैं। आप ITI की मैनेजमेंट कमेटी में आइए, आप ITI को चलाइए, ITI में आपका कोर्स लाइए, ITI को अपग्रेड करने में हमारा मदद करिए। पैसा हमारे पास में है, हम उसमें केवल अपग्रेडेशन में भी पैसा नहीं लगा रहे हैं, बच्चों को पढ़ने के लिए भी हम 500 रुपया पर मंथ हम उनको देते हैं, फ्री में पढ़ाते हैं। कोई ये एक छोटा सा सब्जेक्ट मैंने आपको बताया, जब आपको यदि बीच में कभी टाइम हो या कोई आपका कोर्स हो तो उसके बारे में सोचिए। सेकंड, हमने जैसे अभी आपने अखबार में हमारा पढ़ा होगा नारा, सरकार आपके द्वारी, गवर्नमेंट एट योर डोर स्टेप, उसमें हम सब सरकारी योजनाएं लेके जाते हैं, समस्याओं को सुनते हैं, सॉल्व करते हैं। उसी की तरह से हमने एक शुरू किया है स्किल सेंटर एट योर डोर स्टेप। पूना में हमने इसकी शुरुआत की थी। पूना के अंदर 150 इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट आए थे, गवर्नर साहब के हाथ से उसका उद्घाटन हुआ था, और उसमें हमने ये कहा है कि भाई आपकी, मान लीजिए आपकी प्लास्टिक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की इंडस्ट्री है, प्लास्टिक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की इंडस्ट्री आपकी फैक्ट्री के अंदर, आप हमको एक रूम दीजिए, वो रूम के अंदर ग्रीन चैनल से हम आपको आपका पसंद का सब्जेक्ट अप्रूव करके देंगे, और उस सब्जेक्ट को आपके हिसाब से टेलर मेड भी बना देंगे। टीचर का पगार हम देंगे, वहाँ का खर्चा सारा हम देंगे। हमारा फिर क्या फ़ायदा? हमारा फ़ायदा ये है कि महाराष्ट्र के बच्चों को जॉब मिले। आप उन बच्चों में से कोई कंपल्सन नहीं उन सबको जॉब दें, आप जितने बच्चों को जॉब देंगे आपको, आप अपने हिसाब से रखिए, नहीं देंगे तो ठीक है, आपने जितना किया उतना बहुत अच्छा। इससे उदाहरण के लिए रिलायंस ने खारगर के अंदर एक ऐसा खोला हुआ है सेंटर, जहाँ पर कि वो इंक्यूबेशन भी करते हैं, ये भी सब सिखाते हैं। और इस 1.5-2 साल के पीरियड में जब बच्चे उनके साथ में रहते हैं, या कोई सप्लायर उनके साथ में है, कि बिजनेसमैन उनके साथ में है, तो दोनों एक दूसरे को ज़्यादा समझ लेते हैं, इनकी रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है, और वो ये समझ लेते हैं कि इसमें कौन कौन हमारे काम का है। तो वो मॉडल बहुत सक्सेस होता है। तो मेरी आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि हम कोई आपके अंदर इंटरफेयर नहीं करेंगे। आप रामास्वामी जी यहाँ पर हैं, मैं हूँ, मिस्टर पाटिल यहाँ पर हैं। आप हमारे को, हमारी वेबसाइट एड्रेस हम आपको सर्कुलेट कर देंगे। आप उसमें से कोई भी अपनी, कहीं भी कोई ऑफिस के अंदर लगाना चाहे वेलकम, फैक्ट्री में लगाना चाहे वेलकम, कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट पे लगाना चाहे वेलकम। मेरे बारे में आप जानते हैं, मेरे परिवार का कंस्ट्रक्शन का बिजनेस है। मैंने मेरे लड़के से पूछा कि मैं सब जगह जाता हूँ, लोगों से कहता हूँ जॉब दो जॉब दो, आप अपने यहाँ कुछ 25 लोगों को हमारा डिपार्टमेंट रिकमेंड करेगा तो उनको जॉब देंगे क्या? तो उसने बोला पापा हम नहीं दे पाएंगे। मैंने बोला क्यों? बोले पापा आपके गवर्नमेंट के भेजे हुए लोग और हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट में बहुत फ़र्क होता है। तो मैंने बोला आप क्या कर सकते हो? तो उसने जो कहा मैं आपके साथ शेयर करना चाहता हूँ। इट्स जस्ट फॉर एग्जांपल कि अपनी कोई भी साइट के ऊपर, जैसे स्लाइडिंग विंडो का हमारे कंस्ट्रक्शन फील्ड में बड़ा काम होता है। स्लाइडिंग विंडो है, कारपेंटर है, सुतार है, जो भी कोई होता है, फिटर है, उनको आप हमारे यहाँ पर साइट के ऊपर आप बच्चे भेजिए, उनको हमारे लोग सिखाएंगे, आपके टीचर के साथ में मिलकर सिखाएंगे। उन सब बच्चों को 70-80% बच्चों को जॉब मिल जाएगा। ये मॉडल हम आपके साथ में शेयर भी करना चाहते हैं, और आप यदि अडॉप्ट करना चाहें तो उसको वेलकम भी करना चाहते हैं। आपकी चॉइस का कोर्स, आपकी जगह, आपकी पसंद के बच्चे, जो कम पड़ेगा हम पूरा करेंगे। बच्चे भी हम आपको चाहिए तो हम आपके पास भेजेंगे, और कोई कंपल्सन नहीं है कि हमने इतनी फीस दी, आपके यहाँ पढ़ाया, आपने तो किसी बच्चे को जॉब नहीं दिया, कोई बात नहीं। आपने उतना हम पे हमारे साथ में कोऑर्डिनेट करने की कोशिश की, बाकी उन बच्चों का लक और हमारा लक। मैं एक और लास्ट रिक्वेस्ट करके अपनी बात समाप्त कर दूंगा। मैं CII को एक रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहता हूं कि आपके यहाँ के 3 या 5 लोग आधे दिन के लिए आप मंत्रालय में आइए और स्किल डिपार्टमेंट चलाइए। ये पॉलिटिकल स्टेटमेंट नहीं है, आई मीन इट। क्योंकि आप यदि आके अपने आप पहले हमको बता दीजिए कि हमारा काम स्किलिंग का है, एम्प्लॉयमेंट का है, स्किलिंग का है, ये 2 हमारे काम हैं। इन 2 कामों में यदि आपको लगता है कि आपका CII का या आपके मेंबर्स का नुकसान नहीं होता है, थोड़ा कुछ ना कुछ उनका भी अच्छा होता है, तो हम पार्टनरशिप में आपके साथ में करना चाहते हैं। और इसकी शुरुआत हम ऐसा करना चाहते हैं कि हम जो यहाँ पर इतना मीठा मीठा बोल रहे हैं वो वास्तव में वैसे हैं क्या। तो उसके लिए आप आधा दिन आके हमारे डिपार्टमेंट में आप मिनिस्टर की कुर्सी पे बैठिए, आप लोग डिपार्टमेंट संभालिए, सारे ऑफिसर्स इंक्लूडिंग माई सेल्फ विल रिमेन देयर। और आप पहले हमको 3 सब्जेक्ट बता दीजिए कि इन 3 सब्जेक्ट पे हम डिस्कशन करना चाहते हैं। हम उसकी तैयारी करके आएंगे और तैयारी करने के बाद में आपके साथ में जो उस दिन डिस्कशन डिसीजन होगा उसको इम्प्लीमेंट कर देंगे। रामास्वामी जी, यस है ना? हाँ, हम करेंगे इसको, वी मीन इट। तो देखिए, ऐसा है कि कोई सरकार परमानेंट नहीं रहती है और कोई मिनिस्टर भी परमानेंट नहीं रहता। मिनिस्टर तो छोड़िए, इस देश में कितने प्रधानमंत्री हो गए उसके नाम भी शायद आप में से किसी को याद नहीं होंगे। मुझे तो याद नहीं है कि आज़ादी के बाद से कितने प्रधानमंत्री को कोई याद नहीं रहता, तो हमको और किसको कौन कोई याद रखेगा। तो ये फैक्ट लाइफ का समझ लेना चाहिए। इसमें जो जिम्मेदारी आपको मिली है, गीता के अंदर कृष्ण और अर्जुन का गीता ज्ञान सबने सुना है। उसका एक सेंटेंस मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि जब अर्जुन ने कृष्ण से सवाल किया, वो भाषा उसकी अलग थी, मैं मेरी भाषा में कन्वर्ट करके बोल रहा हूँ कि भाई धर्म क्या होता है। तो अर्जुन ने ये जवाब दिया था कि धर्म ये होता है कि तुमको जो काम मिला है उस काम को तुम बेस्ट तरीके से करो, दैट इज़ द रिलीजन। मेरे पास जब मैं कंस्ट्रक्शन कंपनी का MD था तो मैंने कंस्ट्रक्शन का काम बेस्ट करने की कोशिश की। आज मेरे को गवर्नमेंट के अंदर यदि मिनिस्टर बनाया गया है तो वो काम मैं बेस्ट करने की कोशिश करता हूँ। मैं MLA जहाँ से हूँ वहाँ भी मेरी सेवा बेस्ट करने की कोशिश करता हूँ, चीज़ों को मिक्स नहीं करता हूँ। आप मेरे से ज़्यादा होशियार हैं, ज़्यादा सक्सेसफुल हैं। यहाँ बैठे हुए तो सारे लोग हुजू हैं और ये तो परमानेंट यहाँ रहने वाले। मैं तो मिनिस्टर हूँ इसलिए यहाँ पर बैठा हूँ, बाकी तो बाद में पीछे बैठा रहूँगा। तो मेरी आपसे वापस रिक्वेस्ट है, 3 चीज़ें। एक, हमारी ITI में हमारे साथ में पार्टनरशिप करिए, आपकी चॉइस। 2, स्किल सेंटर एट योर डोर स्टेप, आप उसमें आपके किसी भी इंडस्ट्री में, फैक्ट्री में, ऑफिस में स्किल सेंटर लगवाइए। 3, आधे दिन के लिए आप स्किल सेंटर, स्किल डिपार्टमेंट आके गवर्नमेंट का संभालिए, हम ऑफिशियली आपको लेटर भेज देंगे। और 4, ये तीनों के अलावा आपके कोई मन में सजेशन हो तो वो सजेशन देने के लिए आगे आइए। अपनापन रखिए। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Honorable Minister. And we are sure that definitely the industry will be responding with a positive note. Now, may I call upon Mr. Bobby Kuriakose, Conference Chairman and Convener, CII Maharashtra State Skill Development Panel and Director HR, Forbes Marshall, to deliver the closing remarks, please.
Honorable Minister, other members on the dais, my colleagues from industry, academia, and all other members from the officialdom. It's a pleasure to be here. And we heard the distinguished members on the dais giving their views, and quite in alignment, because there is a lot of synchronization with respect to the different speakers, and everyone agrees with one particular thing, that the skilling and upskilling is continues to be the need of the hour. For surviving in an environment E1, we need skill sets S1, and the environment doesn't stand at ease, it keeps changing. So when you move into an environment E2, if you don't upskill to S2, skill sets to S2, then you don't remain. And there are many organizations which do not realize that the environment has changed, and they do not look at upskilling their people, and they lose out on the race. So this is one particular thing which I wanted to mention, and I'm really glad that we had our distinguished speakers, and especially Dr. Ramaswamy, talking about the various initiatives which are there in the state of Maharashtra. I'm specifically mentioning Maharashtra because we are there, and so actually there are many of us from the industry where the knowledge on the different schemes are known, but there are medium and small scale industries where they do not really know what are the different options available, and it will be really nice that if that message can be spread around to the various areas. And at the same time, we spoke about bringing more women. Rekha mentioned about it, and at the same time also the most critical aspect our minister mentioned is about creating equal dignity for any job across the society, because there are many cases where highly skilled people we term their jobs as menial, do not want their children or the next generation to take on those jobs, and many skills are being lost because our society doesn't accept those as jobs which are relatively of equal importance. And I think that's one of our social responsibilities, giving it back to the society where we operate as industry. And I think it's extremely crucial to ensure that we do our bit to change that particular kind of mindset by educating people and the ecosystem around us to have dignity of labor as far as any of those areas are concerned. We have quite a few number of interesting interactions which are going forward, and I wouldn't come in between. At the same time, a special thanks to Sri Mangal Prabhat Lodha, Honorable Minister, Skill Employment and Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Tourism and Women and Child Development, Government of Maharashtra, for being here with us today. Sir, we know you had a very tight schedule today. Still, you could manage it. Thank you so much for being present here. I also take this opportunity to thank Dr. Ramaswamy and IAS Commissionerate and Skill Employment, Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Government of Maharashtra, for taking his time from his busy schedule to join us at the conference. And so the information you shared was really valuable, and we would like to take that forward. Would also like to thank Ms. Rekha Menon, Chairperson and Senior Managing Director, Accenture India. It's very important, ma'am, to get more women into employment and focusing on upskilling them, because it is said when you educate a man, you educate an individual. When you educate a woman, you educate a family. So it's extremely important. Also, very special thanks to Dr. Praveen Sinha, Chairman CII Western Region and CEO and MD of Tata Power, for his insightful address. He gave some interesting examples and episodes which gives a very clear indication that where we need to move from the point of view of skilling people. And of course, in the family, special thanks to Sriram, Chairman, CII Western Region Subcommittee on Skill Development and Managing Director, Andres Hauser, Automation Instrumentation Limited, for setting tone for today's conference, Sriram. And like the concept you mentioned about skill passport is something which should be worth looking at. And also thank Hakimuddin Ali. Thanks, Hakim. We are colleagues, where, as far as CII concerned, but still I'm formally thanking you. He is the CII Maharashtra State Council, heading the Maharashtra State Council, and Executive Director and Executive Committee Member, Dalmia Cements Bharat Limited. So would like to thank Saugata being here. He heads skill for CII for India. And also thank our esteemed speakers and panelists who are present here. Many have already come, many are on their way. And also, last but not the least, all the participants, because we are here for you and you are here for us. So let's have fruitful interactions going ahead. Just to mention our supporting partners: Skill Development, Employment and Entrepreneurship Department, M3M Foundation. Then we also have few of the industries participants: Better Place, SHRM India, DSV Global, Anderson Hauser, Forbes Marshall, Quest Corp, St. Gobain India Private Limited, The Glass Business, and Tata Chemicals. Thank you so much for being here, everyone, and we hope we'll have a fruitful interaction going forward. And just on last point, sir, your mention about the industry participation, we would try and see whether we can have a small industry cell where some of the members from here can come and participate with the Skill Development Ministry as per the Minister's request, and we'll try and see how we can take it forward. Thank you so much, and have a great day ahead. Thank you once again, all of you all, for being around. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. May I request, as a token of appreciation, Mr. Bobby Kuriakos to please honor our panelists with a memento. Requesting Bobby sir to please honor our guest of honor, Mr. Mangal Prabhat Lodha, Honorable Minister, Skill, Employment, Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Tourism and Women and Child Development, Government of Maharashtra. Thank you, sir. Dr. Ramaswamy N., Commissioner, Commissionerate of Skill, Employment, Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Government of Maharashtra. Dr. Praveer Sinha, Chairman, CII Western Region and Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director, Tata Power. Ms. Rekha Menon, Chairperson and Senior Managing Director, Accenture India. Mr. Hakimuddin Ali, Vice Chairman, CII Maharashtra State Council and Executive Director and Executive Committee Member, Dalmia Cements, Bharat Limited. Mr. Sriram Narayan, Chairman, CII Western Region Subcommittee on Skill Development and Managing Director, Endress Hauser Automation and Instrumentation Private Limited. And may I request Dr. Praveer Sinha to please felicitate Bobby sir. Requesting Dr. Sinha to please felicitate Mr. Saugata Roy Chaudhary, CII. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us for this first inaugural session. We'll be soon starting with our next session. Please be seated.